It's Thursday, February 18th, and this is now on HNN.
Our community failed this child.
A toddler's murder highlights family abuse in Hawaii.
They have had to kind of readjust a little bit here and there.
More vaccine appointments are being rescheduled due to winter weather shipment delays.
We still need this community to be vigilant.
Today, we learned that Kauai will not rejoin the Trans-Pacific Safe Travels program for months.
Here, take a look at the first image.
These stories plus a late-breaking update on NASA's mission to Mars coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon, thank you for watching This Is Now. We begin with this live video feed coming into the HNN Digital Center. Check this out, this is a very wintry Hartford, Connecticut. There's a real crisis brewing in parts of the mainland still. Millions are facing frigid temperatures, some still without power, heat, or water. This is still also impacting the state's vaccine shipments. More on that in a moment. But first, breaking news from the State Department of Health.
We have those coronavirus numbers. The State Health Department is reporting 67 new cases and 1 new fatality. The breakdown by county shows 7 cases on the Big Island, 1 on Kauai, 9 in Maui County, 45 on Oahu, and 5 residents were diagnosed out of state. Lieutenant Governor Josh Green was on Sunrise this morning giving an update on how big of an impact those weather-related vaccine delays are really having on the state's vaccination efforts. Here's what he had to say.
It's not too bad. We got 10,000 doses in this week in spite of the storms. We have another 37,000 doses that are en route, although it's difficult to send these things over because of the ice storms that have been going on in the east and the Midwest. So we'll get those doses. They won't be canceled. Then we'll, of course, get our doses for next week also, which is 53,000 doses projected. So it might be a banner week next week. They have had to kind of readjust a little bit here and there, but these doses are coming in. It's something that I'm not surprised by because it's winter, and we have done 268,000 plus shots now, so we're making good progress.
Where are they coming from that they're getting delayed?
All over the place. One of the main places that they're manufactured, I believe, is in Michigan. It's really tough weather usually in February there. And then you have to deal with all of the processes. Of course, they're going into deep freeze and then flown out. So it's about a 3-day delay. I'm guessing Friday, Saturday, we'll get what we should have gotten on Tuesday. We had the additional complexity of Monday was a national holiday, so nothing was going to come then. So it's a tough week, but we're going to continue to adjust and get these shots in as soon as they land.
You wanted people to be able to travel inter-island with vaccinations without quarantine by March 1st, which is a week and a half away. Is that still feasible?
You know, it's sometimes difficult to convince the gov of certain things, although eventually that's going to happen. The plan for March 1st would be the CISA exemptions, the frequent flyers that do essential work. Those are easier to logistically get done, but very few people have had both vaccines and 2+ weeks. So it's not, it's not a easy to implement program. The bigger success will be when we're able to implement this program for mainland travelers to Hawaii. So when the mainland could travel here having been vaccinated plus 2 weeks, therefore they're immune, and our people have gone through the 1C category, our highest risk people, we're knee deep in 1B right now, then we're safe as a state, our numbers will be low, our vulnerable people will be vaccinated, and that's the best time to use this concept of a vaccination passport to open up.
Do you have an update on a timeline, a possible timeline?
Well, they did put it into the emergency proclamation, which was very good of the governor to do. So it's in the emergency proc as a structure.
The weather disaster in Texas is gaining new urgency with many people fighting to survive in their homes. Naomi Ruckham has the very latest developments.
The shortest month on the calendar is starting to feel like the longest.
Oh man, that groundhog was right.
Another winter storm is dumping an icy mix in the mid-Atlantic, causing a serious accident on I-81 near Roanoke, Virginia. And more snow is falling in the northeast.
This is a long duration event, and in total, we're likely to see about 4 to 8 inches of snow.
Who doesn't want to be in New York in the snow? You got to look at it positively, I think.
New Jersey residents are asked to stay off the roads.
Hopefully you can stay home, watch a good movie. Frozen is always a good choice.
Experts say another flake doesn't have to fall. The New York area is already having an above average snow season. Way below average temperatures are still crippling parts of the South, especially Texas. Power outages there dropped below the 500,000 mark for the first time in 4 days, but many people are still without safe drinking water.
It's been really rough just to try to stay warm, and I've just been really worried about water. More than power.
Critics say Texas long ignored recommendations to winterize its power sources.
The warnings have been there for years. This was a train wreck on the way to happening 10 years ago.
And while many Texans struggle with the weather, photos on social media show Texas Senator Ted Cruz heading to Cancun. He issued a statement saying he was accompanying his daughters on a trip and is returning today. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
With an update on how the severe weather is impacting travel, here's CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg.
Not as much as you'd think, except if you're in Dallas. So they got impacted. And by the way, DFW is now America's busiest airport. It's surpassing even Atlanta. Not today it's not, but in general it is. But I flew from Los Angeles to New York last night through Charlotte and had no problem. I'm flying out tonight from JFK and anticipate no problem, even though I'm looking out the window here and it's snowing, but it's not snowing enough to stick. And if you happen to be flying to or from Salt Lake City, that's an airport like Denver is. These guys have mastered the art of snow removal at the airport. They're brilliant at it. I'm not sure I have this correct, but I don't think Salt Lake City has closed for snow in a number of years. That's saying something, considering that it's Salt Lake City, right? It snows there, and they've got it down.
New today, Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami says his county won't rejoin the Trans-Pacific Safe Travels program until mid to late May.
By then, we're going to be vaccinating industry workers, hospitality workers, and restaurant workers. So it puts us in a good place to rejoin the state safe travel. Of course, all the health officials are also taking a look at variants, and up until that point, we still need this community to be vigilant as far as keeping case numbers low.
Around 200 Kauai business owners met yesterday. Many are frustrated, saying they're suffering without tourists, and they're calling for a clear reopening plan. Some businesses have already shut down. Dozens more said they can't hold on for another month under the current restrictions. Kauai has seen several days of zero COVID cases since opting out of the Trans-Pacific program in December. The county rejoined the Inter-Island Safe Travels program in January.
Yeah, our goal is always to base our schedule on level of acceptable risk. And the numbers are low, but our vaccine clinics are running at a very good pace. And what we focus on is getting our most vulnerable and frontline workers fully vaccinated. Out of 19,000 vaccines that we've distributed, about 1/3 of those are people getting their second doses. So we are going to get through this. There are additional federal support programs. We want to urge businesses that are struggling to take into account the PPP loans. We're awaiting more signals from Congress on what federal aid packages are going to look like as they start being distributed to counties.
Travis Rodriguez has been indicted for the murder of his baby girl. Police say the IA man confessed to beating to death 18-month-old Kitana Ancog 2 weeks ago. Bail is set at $2 million. He allegedly gave the girl's body to his friend Scott Carter, who is set to appear in court tomorrow. Child advocates say the state's family abuse problem is more widespread than many people realize. Mahealani Richardson has more on that.
Our community failed this child.
After reading reports that 2 witnesses saw baby Kitana with injuries, experts say someone should have come forward before her disappearance.
Anytime a child is bruised, that should be cause for concern.
This is how kids die in Hawaii all the time. If they didn't report this abuse, as they're required to do, they're complicit in this child's death and disappearance.
UH criminologist Mita Chesney-Lynn says Hawaii's low murder rate doesn't tell the whole story.
But when we look at the proportion of those murders that are involved with domestic violence, we see a huge proportion.
A Department of Health study showed Hawaii's child death rate by ethnicity as highest among Pacific Islanders, Blacks, and Native Hawaiians.
The ethnic groups are really a proxy for poverty and inequality and marginality.
The loss of this baby belongs to all of us.
Nancy Creedman, executive director of the Domestic Violence Action Center, says typically calls to her agency jump after a high-profile case of domestic violence.
It makes all moms very, very frightened to think that this could happen to their child. Historically, when the community has lost someone to domestic violence, our calls and contacts increase quite a bit.
Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Meanwhile, School Superintendent Christina Kishimoto is criticizing the CDC's new guidelines on reopening schools. She told Civil Beat yesterday that she wants more details on social distancing, calling the current guideline a little bit wishy-washy. She says Hawaii public schools do not have enough room to fit everyone with 6 feet of separation, but she wants all elementary and middle school students back in classrooms as soon as possible. Kishimoto and the DOE have so far declined to speak with us about the issue. Tomorrow she plans to meet with lawmakers and the health department on a reopening plan. Currently, 74% of the state's 162,000 public school students are getting in-person learning at least part-time. Meanwhile, a special meeting between the Board of Education and Kishimoto is underway right now. They're talking budget cuts. We'll let you know what happens in later editions of HNN and on our digital platforms. The White House and congressional Democrats are unveiling a bill that would reshape immigration laws to provide a long-promised path to citizenship. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Congressional Democrats have unveiled the White House-backed U.S. Citizenship Act, a sweeping immigration overhaul bill that would offer a path to citizenship for roughly 11 million undocumented immigrants.
We are confident that we can get this done. The American people support this. It's long overdue. Millions have been waiting for relief.
The proposal would automatically make farm workers, temporary protected status holders, and undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children, known as Dreamers, eligible for green cards. After 3 years, they could apply for citizenship. And it would establish an 8-year path to citizenship for all other eligible undocumented immigrants who arrived in the U.S. by January 1st. They would need to undergo background and national security checks, as well as file taxes and pay application fees.
We maximize the ability of finding pathways for people to make themselves right with the law.
Democrats have the majority in the House, but over in the Senate, under current rules, at least 10 Republicans would have to back the plan and would likely push for border enforcement and a more narrow focus.
We have to deal with a secure border and make sure the magnets to track another way are dealt with.
Top Democrats in the White House have indicated a willingness to tackling immigration reform through smaller measures.
There are others who want to do piecemeal, and that may be a good approach, too. That's up to the Congress to decide.
It's been more than 3 decades since Congress passed major immigration reform. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Walmart is raising wages for 425,000 of its workers. The country's largest private employer said it would raise pay for hourly U.S. workers to an average above $15 an hour. But that does not mean everyone will be making that much. Its minimum starting wage for U.S. workers will remain at $11 an hour. Walmart employs about 1.5 million hourly workers across America. New today, a Japanese woman is now in charge of the Tokyo Olympics. Sarah Harmon has much more on that.
The Tokyo Olympics has a new president, and this time it's a woman, Seiko Hashimoto. She's a former 7-time Olympian herself and a speed skater. She takes the leadership role at a difficult time for the Tokyo Games. They've already been postponed until summer, and concern is growing about the wisdom of hosting a large international sporting event in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. She takes over from the former chief who resigned after making sexist comments about women, including saying they talk too much in meetings. The International Olympic Committee has said it warmly welcomes Seiko Hashimoto's appointment to the role. As a new survey shows, 80% of people in Japan now believe the Games should be postponed or canceled altogether. Sarah Harmon, NBC News, London.
Thanks, Sarah, for that update. Don't forget, KHNL is your local Olympic station. We'll have a bunch of coverage plans in the months ahead. Want to take you outside live right now to a snow-covered Washington, D.C., also seeing some winter weather. I've been seeing a lot of folks on the mainland posting their weather videos. Yeah, it looks pretty rough in several parts of the country. Not too bad here, of course. Let's get a check with Guy Hockey.
How's it on this Thursday? The stormy disturbance continues to linger over the state. So because thunderstorms are firing up, anywhere in the state could see some isolated thunderstorms with some heavy rainfall today, slowly easing up by tomorrow. And those trade winds will be picking up speed today. They'll be running about 15 to 20 miles an hour out of the east-northeast. And that means whatever windward showers come in might be pushed over to leeward sides every now and then. The biggest threat for heavy rain and thunderstorms remains over on Kauai and Niihau. They are still under a flash flood watch, meaning flooding conditions are possible. Now, for the rest of the state, skies will be cloudy. There will be some spotty showers moving through from time to time, and there's a slight chance for a thunderstorm and some heavy rainfall, although it's not expected to be that high as much as on Kauai. Now, the surf's on the way down, still going to have some pretty good sized waves up in the country, and conditions are decent because of those easterly winds, even though it's going to be slightly choppy. And then we'll have to get through some cloudy, wet weather before we get to a sunny weekend. And the weekend's looking up, although there will be a few windward and Mauka showers on Saturday and Sunday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
After a 300 million mile journey, NASA's Perseverance just landed on Mars. Chris Martinez reports from Los Angeles.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
After a nearly 300 million mile trek through the stars, NASA's Perseverance rover is now safely on the surface of Mars. Minutes after it touched down, the rover transmitted its first photo of the Martian surface back to Earth, signaling it's ready to begin its mission.
Part of what we're doing is kind of paving the way for human exploration.
Gregory Villar is part of the team that spent years plotting the riskiest moment of the latest Mars mission, the landing, a 7-minute white-knuckle event. Mission managers say that landing Thursday afternoon went entirely as planned.
This is so exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal.
With Perseverance now on Mars, the car-sized robotic spacecraft will begin one of its primary jobs, searching for signs of life. The rover is looking for evidence of long-dead microscopic organisms that may have thrived on the planet billions of years ago. To do that, Perseverance will drill into the ground, collecting Martian rock and dust samples NASA hopes to one day return to Earth.
The Mars Sample Return Project, of course, is probably the most challenging thing we've ever attempted within NASA. We are hoping to learn if life ever existed in the ancient past on Mars.
The Perseverance mission is also tasked with another first, exploring the planet's surface from the air, thanks to a drone helicopter named Ingenuity. With their numerous cameras and sensors, the drone and rover will study the climate and geology of Mars, helping scientists as they plot manned missions to the planet in the years ahead. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I know.
Right?
Jonathan and I are such space nerds. I had chicken skin that entire story, and he was just geeking out on all the gadgets.
Yeah, the helicopter. You
So
guys.
cool.
Yeah, there was this tweet too, and it says, this is from Perseverance, him or herself. It says, I'm safe on Mars. Really cute. And Ashley's going to be interviewing a UH researcher in just a few moments. That's going to be on First at 4 and our other evening editions as well.
That's right.
Very, very, very exciting stuff there. Turning to other news, really fun news. Dolly Parton's always makes me smile. But get this, the country music legend is turning down a statue in her honor. She asked state lawmakers in her home state of Tennessee to not put together a bill that would put the statue at the Capitol. In a tweet she posted, she said she's honored, but considering everything going on in the world, this is not the time to, quote, put her on a pedestal. She said she'll continue working hard to make everyone in Tennessee proud. And I have been to Dollywood and love that place.
I bet.
Yeah, it's a great, beautiful part of the country.
So food news, you guys. We recently told you about those vegan Kit Kats. Well, Hershey's is now releasing an organic Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Now, the new treat comes in both dark and milk chocolate. Hershey says they are certified USDA organic, non-GMO, and Rainforest Alliance certified. Now, a 1.4 ounce pack will cost you about $2. Hershey says organic milk chocolate and special dark chocolate bars are also coming this month.
You said it right. I am with you. Reese's, not Reese's.
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 That's what they say in the commercials.
Yeah, well, you hear people all the time say Reese's.
Oh.
That's not how
I've
I do
actually
it.
never had one before.
Oh, I know why.
Peanut allergy.
Yeah,
But
I'm sorry.
I know people love them. And Dunkin' Donuts, you guys, is launching 3 new drinks with something different on top. Foam. So 3 cold brews topped with a sweet foam. One of the new drinks, called the Chocolate Stout Cold Brew, combines chocolate and what Dunkin' calls a malty molasses flavor. There's another one with cold foam, and it's named after a popular creator on TikTok. And another one features caramel, cinnamon sugar, plus the sweet foam on top. All of the drinks will be available next Wednesday.
Something I haven't had. Dunkin' Donut. Coffee. Never. Not a coffee fan, as you
Same.
know. Tim Burton's up to something really cool, working with Netflix. He's working on a new series featuring, get this, Wednesday Addams
Love
from
it.
the Addams Family. The 8-episode spin-off is being described as a supernatural-infused mystery centered on the Addams Family's daughter, her time as a student at Nevermore Academy. Very Sabrina the Teenage Witch sounding, right? We'll learn that she has psychic abilities, and there's a mystery surrounding her parents. No word yet on who will play Wednesday Addams, but I think we'd make a good Wednesday in Pugsley.
Oh,
so
man.
hit us up. Tim
You
Burton.
be Pugsley?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Time for some good news, you guys.
Yeah.
A rescue on the north shore of Oahu. We're hearing from a woman who was swept into rough waters near jagged rocks, and we're also hearing from the Makakilo man who saved her. Here's Lynn Kawano.
The construction worker was on his lunch break. He was sitting on a bench near that point when he started hearing faint cries for help.
I just thought, oh my God, this is it. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die out here. Nobody can hear me. Nobody can see me, okay? Because I'm putting my arms up and I'm yelling help.
Valerie Coolidge, visiting from Ohio, was snorkeling at Queen Lima Cove at Turtle Bay Tuesday about noon when she realized she was being pulled out by the current. Pele Nico's company, National PCCC Demolition, is doing work on the resort. He ran to the shoreline to see who was yelling.
She was getting tired. More and more she come up and yelling for help. And then I had to do something.
Nico took off his work boots and jumped in.
The current was really strong. Plus, she was hanging on to me as I was stroking out to the reefs. And one thing, I was just hoping for a big wave to just catch me and her, and then I can push her over to the reefs. And then I saw the big wave, and then I pushed her over to the reef.
He kept telling me to stand up, but every time I tried to stand up, another wave came and knocked me over. And I said, don't let go of me, don't let go of me.
Nico helped her to safety. She only has cuts on her legs and feet. The two exchange numbers to keep in touch. Nico calls her auntie, and she calls him her hero.
Hero is too much of a big word for me. It's just being a human being.
After the rescue, he put his boots back on. Wet clothes and all, he went back to work for another 3 hours. At Turtle Bay, I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Back to work and everything. That reminds me, there's lifeguards tryouts in the work here on the island, and Billy V was featuring it this morning. I don't have the video, but if you have any time at all, go to our HNN.com digital platforms and find the video of Billy V trying out to be a lifeguard from this morning on
doing
Sunrise.
the workouts?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
He tried his hardest. That's all I got to say. But give you a little teaser there. It's worth watching. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. We'll be back here on your Aloha Friday. Woo-hoo! You guys have a great afternoon. Ashley will be back at 1 at 4 on KHNL.
See you guys.